Welcome, everyone, to our part two of our series on releasing the shame and blame game with flower essences and essential oils. The two subjects that we have been talking about, shame yesterday, is a very deep and profound emotion that most of us have suffered from sometime in our life. And it can be so profound and deep that we're not even consciously aware of it. Blame is something too that is involved in this game. And we call it the shame and blame game. How many of you have felt shame or blame? Please put it in the comments and please put where you are from. We're so very happy to be here with you today to discuss blame. So let us know where you're from. Ruth is here with me today. She's from Ireland and she just got back from France. And Zoe was with us yesterday in France. And I'm here in sunny California. Yes, it's finally sunny. So let's now talk about blame. I'll put up my slides. All right. Let's talk about emotional intelligence, releasing the shame and blame game with flower essences and essential oils. Our part two of our shame and blame game, blame. Awareness of your vulnerability and how you can access your trust, self, compassion, and confidence to overcome the shame and blame game. Now, we talked about shame yesterday, and we today are going to be discussing self blame because these two subjects are, like I said before, are so deep and so wide that we can only talk about one part of shame, which is self, which is shame about ourselves, and blame, which is self blame. We really feel that a master class could be done on the body shaming and many other different forms of shame and blame. And we'll let you know more about that as time goes on. So I'm Lori Hargis. I'm your instructor. I'm a registered aromatherapist and a certified flower essence practitioner and the founder and the master teacher of the Lori Hargis International School of Aromatherapy. So I want you to ask yourself, and I want you to put it in the comments, do you feel that it's always your fault? Is the shadow self of yourself telling you it's always your fault? Do you blame yourself? And Ruth is going to let me know what you guys are saying here. Let me check this out. So she's sending me a little message here because, and you can say yes, or you can say sometimes or no, because a lot of times it can be a sometimes. Is it more yes than it is no? Or is it only sometimes? Once in a while you say it to yourself. Or do you have this constant chatter in your head saying, yes, it's always my fault. I'm always the one I'm always the one that's doing the things. The other person has nothing to do with it. Let us know in the comments. So I have been in the natural health world for over 36 years. And our work that we do, my team and I, is based on scientific research and ancient teachings. We work with olfactory medicine and flower and plant healing. We believe breath work is important and how we can connect our brain, heart, and gut to improve our health. Connecting all the bodies and incorporating mental and emotional wellness to develop self-confidence and knowledge. Today, we'll have movement, which we always do with the Lori method, a formulation. We'll be telling ourselves new stories and learning how to direct your energy to be active, radiant, and giving. So yes, we have some people on Diane says, I used to be worse, better since your classes. And Cynthia said, yes. Valerie Stone says she is better too. Okay. So let's begin with a mindful exercise. And we are still utilizing the energies from the solar eclipse and the super moon. The solar eclipse was yesterday, but you've got to remember we have a build up to the solar eclipse, a build up to that super moon. And now we're going to utilize that energy that the moon and the sun have offered us to better ourselves. So grab your juniper essential oil and mountain pennyroyal flower essence combination. And let's take a short sniff of it. So let's take a short sniff of it. And then I want you to place it on your third eye, between your eyes. And remember, this is what I taught in our health forecast. Our April forecast, health forecast was on purifying and protecting yourself. And so this is a blend that we made with 12 drops of juniper and 4 drops of mountain pennyroyal. So you're going to take that blend, you're going to put it here on your third eye, and you're going to take 3 deep breaths. So let's begin. Now keep your eyes closed, and I want you to imagine the color here at the third eye. The third eye is connected to your pituitary gland, which is the master gland of your your endocrine system. And this is the reason why we call our mind's eye here. The pituitary gland does many different things. It helps balance our endocrine system. It helps our kidneys with our water balance in the body and also our blood pressure. So I want you to imagine the color of indigo here, because this color can be very beneficial for you to help envision your future, your creativity, and to help you let go of the emotional debris and toxic things that are in your energy field. Now, if you can't envision and really focus in, focus in your eyes, like you have a third eye here. That's what we call it, a third eye. Imagine. And when you focus in, a lot of times then that color of indigo will come in. If it's dark there, don't worry about it. I want you just to let go of the tension, the friction, and any pain that you're holding in your body right now. And maybe you're a feeler and you feel the color of indigo. And now feel your body being protected and safe. Your energy field protected and safe. And slowly open your eyes and let us know how you're feeling. Let us know how you're feeling since you did this mindful exercise to purify and protect yourself with juniper essential oil and mountain pennyroyal flower essence. So during this masterclass series, you can take the quiz and get a chance to win my book, and a place at the Flower Essence Retreat. Book your free 30-minute individual flower essence session with Ruth or I. And this is important. We want to make sure that you understand that Ruth and I have been working with flower essences for over 30 years. And Ruth is a Bach flower expert, and I'm a flower essence practitioner. And, we are making the time to do this with you. So please take this opportunity. It's free and it's 30 minutes, and we can help you out with some challenges that maybe you're having. So take the opportunity. Last time when we offered this, we had people who really were happy that they did it. And they said, we thought, Lori doesn't really have the time to do it. Well, I wouldn't offer it if I don't have the time. So please, Ruth's going to put that link in the comments so you guys can sign up for that. And then we have our special offer when you sign up for the Flower Essence Retreat. And then today you can ask any questions that you have. So make sure that you do the quiz so you get a chance to have a free place at the Flower Essence Retreat. So let's talk about our Flower Essence Retreat. Our Flower Essence Retreat is in Bakersfield, California, where I am at now. And I am here to help you learn the subtle energies of flowers and how these subtle energies can help you energetically be on purpose. Be the person that you came on earth to be. That is our whole goal, and that was Dr. Bach's goal, is for people to live their purpose. And he found that through working with the flowers. The flowers, as we see here, one of our students is looking here at a lily. And as she looks at this lily, she's looking at all the characteristics of the flower. And she's looking at and feeling the subtle energies of the flower. What is the polarity of the flower? I have so many people send me messages and say, I made a flower essence. And I'm like, oh, great. Well, have you had any training in it? Well, no, and it didn't stay. It's because with flowers and with any plant that you're working with, you need to be working with it through the seasons to really understand it. It's not going and buying a flower at Trader Joe's, which will have chemicals in it, and making a flower essence, make yourself sick. Things are not going to be stable and grounded in the plant, with the plant, when you're working with it, if you do not understand it. So this is what's important, is to follow the plant through the seasons, from the time it's a seed, then when it grows leaves, and then it goes into a flower. And this is what we're teaching in our retreat, is teaching you how to connect with the plants, the flowers. And flowers are the soul of the plant. And that's why Dr. Bach said that, I can remove gallbladders, but it doesn't make the patient happy. They still have their bitterness. So how do we work on ridding ourselves of the bitterness? Well, we work out here on the energy field first, because that's where things come in. And we can help release it through using the soul of the plant that works on our soul and our energy field. Because you've came in here to this earth for a purpose. Every single person has. And when we can be on purpose, we're happy, we feel joy, we're helpful to others, and we're giving, and we're also self-accepting. So this is why this 3-day flower essence retreat is such an important part of our work with the Lori Hargis International School of Aromatherapy. Because we want you to be on purpose and to feel happiness and joy and love in your life. And as you see here, we do meditations with the flowers. We do positive affirmations. I make organic foods with all my love and these 2 hands for everybody. And let's get to the details of it now. So it's deep work into the energy healing of flowers and water, attuning to the subtle energies of flowers and how they work on a soul level, flower meditations, a garden study, which my neighbor has a beautiful garden that you'll be working in. And right now he is working on it, making it perfect for everyone when they come. How to make a flower essence. This is so important. It's very simple, yet it has to be done in the proper way. And then you'll take home the flower essence that our group has developed together, has made together. You'll take that home and use it. We'll be demonstrating on how to do consulting skills with your clients live with me. So I'll be showing you how to do that. Different selecting techniques of how to be able to do muscle testing, for example, to test to see which flower essence is the right ones for your clients. That's just one example. Case study presentations by graduates. Organic food, again, prepared by me. And a special evening with healing music. The cost is $440 for 3 days. That's May 3rd, 4th, 5th, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And it's here in Bakersfield, California. And we're offering one place today if you are in the quiz and if you participated yesterday too. So we're very excited about all of this, and we can't wait to share more with you at the Flower Essence Retreat and today in this class about blame and how you can overcome it with flower essences and essential oils. So today you will learn what is emotional intelligence, what is self-blame, what are the signs of blaming yourself, what is a flower essence, what are the flower essences for blaming yourself, what is an essential oil, and what are the essential oils for, again, blaming yourself, and flower essence and essential oil blend for blaming yourself. Now, this blend is all about you taking the responsibility of this, of how you are blaming yourself, and you are self-accepting of yourself. So this blend is all about self-acceptance and self-responsibility. Then we'll have our mindful exercise to see now how you're doing after we've talked about these flowers And we've done our first mindful exercise. And at the end, we'll see how you're doing at the second exercise and how to continue your emotional wellness journey. So write this down because this is on the quiz. What is emotional intelligence? According to the National Institute of Childhood Abuse and Neglect, emotional intelligence is a multifaceted concept encompassing the ability to recognize, understand, what, and use emotions effectively in oneself and others. So what this is saying is that if you have fear, it's not bad to have fear. Fear motivates us, it protects us, right? It's just like being angry. Anger helps us, motivates us, gets us out of depression, and gets us to do something. It's how and what we do with it and how we can find solutions on our own through our emotions. It plays a critical role in interpersonal communications, self-awareness, and decision making. And that's what we want this course to do, these classes to do for you, is to make you consciously aware of how you are shaming yourself or blaming yourself, how you can find solutions to get out of it so you can be on purpose. So what is self-blame? Self-blame is a common form of cognitive distortion or unhelpful thinking style. So, it's like the shadow saying, you're no good. Yeah, that was your fault. You didn't warn them. It goes on and on like this, right? So characteristics by the incorrect assignment of blame or responsibility for adverse events. How many of you have ever blamed yourself for something that happened to somebody else and you had nothing to do with it? Let us know in the comments. I'm going to see here what Ruth has said to me. Cynthia said, today didn't see as much black today. Saw some indigo, feel calmer. And then someone else said on YouTube, feeling calmer after the exercise. Great. So let us know if you ever feel, like you criticize yourself and then you have all these feelings of guilt and shame and regret and self-directed frustration. It's interesting. A lot of people will use self-blame too, as they blame themselves so much and been blamed by others that they start believing that it's their fault. And this can happen when you're a very small child. Say the little brother or sister started crying and you got angry, not at the little brother or sister, because that was a different situation, but you were angry because maybe your toy truck broke. And you cry about that too. And you're told the reason your baby brother is crying is because you're crying and that you're upset. And so then what you start doing is you start suppressing yourself. Okay, if I'm going to get along in this family system, I'm going to have to take the blame and I'm going to have to zip it. That's what can happen with self-blame. That's how it can start. So do you have these signs of blaming yourself? Not trusting others or yourself? How many of you guys raise your hand and put it in the comments? Do you have signs of blaming yourself by not trusting others or yourself? You don't trust others? Nope, I can't trust them. So Nora says, yep, more than once, self-directed frustration is a real challenge. Diane says, felt extremely positive after applying the oil and mountain penny oil. Okay, so Ruth is telling me if any of you guys feel like you can't trust others or yourself. Cynthia says yes. And you can say sometimes or no in the comments too. Do you have a fear of failure? Raise your hand if you have a fear of failure. Like before it even starts, before you even go to do the project or something, you already have set it up where I'm going to fail. I've been told I am not going to succeed at this. I've heard this from many, many students saying that a parent told them, you know, you never finish anything. You always fail. This is what they've heard as children. And then what happens is that plays over and over in your mind. And so you're like, how can I succeed, huh? I'm not going to succeed. You know, my mom always told me I never finished anything. I never was good at anything. Also, so let's see what people say. Yes, some trusting in my own arrogance. And Diane says, I'm feeling more centered and free after the exercise. And Cynthia says, sometimes. So not accepting oneself. You know, that can be a big challenge, because if you're loud and boisterous as I am, then that can be a challenge in certain cultures. And I found that out when I moved to France. I was too loud, I was too boisterous. I said, you know, I would say things like, oh, it's so beautiful. And no, it can't be that beautiful, because every culture is different. So, and then when you're quiet, so then I became more quiet. So then when you become more quiet, well, what's wrong with you? This is something that is very challenging. So that's why we have to learn to accept ourselves and go on. So if you're loud and boisterous, you're loud and boisterous. If you're quiet and soft, you're quiet and soft. It's okay. But this is why what flower essences can do for you in essential oils. They can help you with this. So let's see what everybody else has to say. And let's look at overly stimulated and sensitive. We have so many people that are overly stimulated and sensitive. Why do you think they take opiates? What do opiates do? They knock you out, don't they? You don't have to deal with anything. You're just out. And then you wake up, right? And then, oh, I want to do that again. So people are very sensitive, and especially when they blame themselves. When you're sensitive, you have a tendency more to blame yourself for things. And then you get all riled up and overstimulated because of it. Oh my gosh, what have I done? That was because of me, even though it maybe had nothing to do with you. Maybe you offered something to somebody and they didn't take you up on it. And then you go, oh, well, you know, it's just because I had it at the wrong time. I did, and it had nothing to do with you. So, you know, overstimulation, and then with all this stuff that we're looking at, you know, like me at the computer, our phones, all the social media, that's a lot of overstimulation. And that coming into your energy field can make you more sensitive. So think about that. How many of you feel overstimulated and more sensitive? Put that down. Put it in the comments. And not being responsible. You know, blaming yourself does not make you responsible. I always think of the film Pride and Prejudice. When the sister says, she doesn't tell her sisters that she had seen Mr. Darby and what happened between she and Mr. Darby, did she? And because she didn't, it caused some problems for her and for her family. And she blamed herself. She blamed herself. When really, if she had been responsible, she could have told her sister and her mother and her father, saying, this is what happened to me. But she didn't want to be vulnerable. Also, her pride, remember, got in the way. So we have to think about, just because we're blaming ourselves doesn't mean we're responsible or being responsible. So this is what I found very interesting working on this project of shame and blame. So how does self-blame affect you? According to Formica, self-blame is one of the most toxic forms of emotional abuse. It amplifies our perceived inadequacies, whether real or imagined, and paralyzes us before we can even begin to move forward. You know, we talk about chronic dis-ease, don't we? And we talk about autoimmune diseases. What is that about? Putting the stuff back on yourself again, taking the self-blame. I think we need to look deeper into that and on the emotional aspect of it. So here we have, Nora says, frequently oversensitive, but not really sensitive what others want, even though I might perceive what they may need. Okay. So here are a few questions to ask yourself to understand how much you blame or criticize your own self. What's your immediate thought or inner voice when you make a mistake? What do you hear? Okay. What does your inner voice say when you make a mistake? Oh gosh, you did it again. Or do you find a solution to it? Say, oh, I did that. I did it again. So now I'm going to do this. Or do you stay in self-blame? Or do you take responsibility? What do you tell yourself in a difficult situation that is beyond your control? What do you do? Do you say, well, if only I had been there, I could have helped them with that? Or do you say, I wasn't there and I'm really sorry that that happened? Do you blame yourself for others' behavior or even their emotions? Oh my gosh, I know this is the reason that so-and-so is acting this way because I said this to them, or I did that, or because I didn't say something, or, they're angry because, I set the plate on the table wrong. That can happen, huh? When you are being physically or emotionally abused on a regular basis, the way you set down the plate on the table can be a way for you to get a beating. And so you can blame yourself for this. You can say, oh, he's angry or she's angry because I set the table wrong. Or I gave them the wrong color, napkin. It can be that way, right? Do you blame yourself for doing nothing about a situation? Now, there's the Mr. Darby story, right? Where she didn't tell anybody about what happened. So she blamed herself. If she had told, though, the situation could have been maybe easier for everybody. So that's when you take responsibility, when you don't do anything. So what can self-blame lead to? It can lead to self-criticism, rumination, guilt, and shame. And we talked about self-criticism yesterday. We talked about rumination yesterday, and we talked about shame. It can lead to depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder. Oh my gosh, I've got to get this done because, they'll come home and things won't be right. Perfectionism, where you don't want to do anything unless you do it perfect. Generalized anxiety disorder. So we can see self-blame can lead to very challenging situations. And so this is why it's such an important and profound topic and emotion that we all need to be working on. So let's look at not trusting others as part of self-blame, fear of failure, not accepting oneself, overly stimulated and sensitive, and not being responsible. And let's look at from a flower essence perspective. Now, we talked about what is a flower essence yesterday, but we always have new people on. So let's talk about it again. Flower essences are liquid potentized preparations, each carrying a distinct imprint of the character of a particular flower. Each living plant has an inherent original energy pattern, which Dr. Bach, a sensitive and learned English physician, found a way to capture and utilize in his work in the 1930s. He was the founder of flower essences. This is why it's so important that you come to our flower essence retreat and really learn the subtle energies of a flower and how to make a flower essence and utilize them. So what are the flower essences for self-acceptance and responsibility? We have Oregon grape. This is Oregon grape, this beautiful yellow flower here. And the polarity of Oregon grape is expecting blame or negativity from others. And sometimes you don't even realize that you do this. But, you can have someone trying to do something really nice for you, but you're like, oh, no, it's okay. Because you expect then that later on they're going to ask you for something or it's going to go into a negative situation. And you don't realize that that's what you're doing. You're not even receiving this opportunity or this wonderful thing that this person's offering you. Pine for guilt, and this is our beautiful Pinus sylvestris, right? Feelings, guilt feelings, self-blame, self-criticism, inability to accept oneself. You're always blaming yourself. You are totally blaming yourself all the time. Oh, if I had only done this, like we said in our questions before. Holly, feeling cut off from love, and this beautiful little flower here, and it's so teeny tiny. It helps us when we're feeling cut off with love. And Ruth and I discussed holly in our episode in March. We talked about holly. And we also I talked about last week about pine. So you can check out on our YouTube channel and in our Facebook groups, you can check out those episodes that we've done on Bach flower remedies and learn more about holly and pine in depth. And then we'll go to beautiful pink yarrow. Tendency to absorb other feelings of blame and emotional projection. So instead of you realizing, that's John's and this is mine, you bleed out there, your energy field bleeds out there, and John's energy comes into yours, and you absorb John's feelings of blame, not your own. But you don't realize it. So this is another part of self-blame, is absorbing others' self-blame, especially if you are in an abusive situation, if you are being sexually abused, physically abused, or mentally abused. The energy of the person who is abusing you is coming into your energy field. So all their insecurities, anger, and all that can come in here. This is why we're working on purifying and protecting our energy field, and then working with these flowers for self-acceptance and self-responsibility. So here are the flower essences for self-compassion and confidence and self-responsibility and self-acceptance. Lack of self-confidence, expectation of failure, and self-censorship. And that's this beautiful, it's a beautiful, beautiful flower that's long, and it comes and it's got these little green and red flowers there. Then we have self-heal. Here we have self-heal. Inability to take inner responsibility for one's healing. Lacking in spiritual motivation for wellness. Overly dependent on external advice for health choices. So this could be that, you're constantly going to different doctors because you're always looking for something outside of yourself. When you have your answers within you, you have this wellspring of wellness coming out of you. Excuse me. Yet you're looking outside here. And then, of course, they're all giving you advice. But then whose advice do you take? When you don't have the self-confidence or the self-acceptance of yourself, you're going to always be looking outside here. It's like, going looking for gold, but outside of yourself. So self-heal helps you take responsibility for your health and your well-being. And that's always been my goal, is to teach you how to take responsibility for your health and well-being. To be an active participant, not be passive in your health choices. Then we have beautiful baby blue eyes here. Defensiveness, insecurity, mistrust of others, estrangement from the spiritual world. Now we're finding that the lack of support from the father in childhood has a lot to do with our trust. So if your father was not there, if you were abandoned by your father, and you really don't have a good father image in your life, then this is where you can have not a lot of self-acceptance, and you don't trust people. My dad didn't show up when he was supposed to show up. He didn't take me to the baseball games. And he said he was going to, and instead he was somewhere else and I never saw him. And I waited and waited on that little step, waiting and waiting for him, and he never showed up. These are the stories that I hear. And they're saying in studies that where people have not had a good father, it doesn't have to be your biological father, but a good father image, someone to support them in their life, it has made it much more difficult, and it has led to crime. So, you can keep blaming yourself, right? And saying, oh yeah, I'm always bad anyway, so I might as well do bad things. Something to think about. So let's look at the flower essences now that can help us with trust. Baby blue eyes, letting go of the cynicism, when people have been cynical, especially the father, when tinged with blame. So if you've had someone who's saying, you never do it well anyway, and it's all your fault, it's pretty difficult to trust others, isn't it? Oregon grape, trusting the goodwill of others, especially when tending to misperceive others' intentions. So you've been hurt a lot. And so then you're not really sure how to take it when someone offers you something. So these two flowers together, the positive aspects of them is trust in the goodwill of others. And when you can trust in the goodwill of others, you can trust yourself too. And then you begin starting to accept yourself. Fear of failure, large self-confidence and projecting success. So you start feeling more confident. Pine, releasing blame around failure. Feeling confident in oneself to succeed. Pine, for not accepting oneself. Holly, large, and baby blue eyes. So pine helps us release the guilt and the self-blame. Just as I was talking that how I had took on the blame of the person who had sexually molested me. And of course, when people tell you not to tell, then you have this shame and this blame going on in yourself. It's my fault, right? And then what pine does and how it can help you is, remember the pine needles and how it goes through your energy field and helps let go of that, so that way you can have the ability to forgive yourself. It wasn't your fault, that type of situation. Forgive yourself and let it go. Forgiving. Holly, seeing others as part of the human family, ability to drop feelings of separation. So when people have been through abusive situations, they start seeing themselves totally separate. It's me against the world. We all want love, and holly is the center flower for that. Dr. Bob said holly was the center flower. So if you can imagine holly being in the center of your bouquet of flowers, and then you've got pine, and now we're going to go, you've got your baby blue eyes there next to it. Feeling at ease with oneself, trusting in the goodness of the world, and large, confident in one's inner strength and abilities. So when you make this bouquet of these 4 flowers, you're going to feel at ease with confidence and strength to accept yourself. Our next situation when we are in self-blame. Again, we talked about being overstimulated and sensitive. Pink yarrow, tendency to absorb others' feelings of blame and emotional projection, right? We talked about that earlier. Self-heal, not accepting your inner power to heal, knowing that you are capable of transformation. So these 2 flowers, when you put them together in this bouquet, they give you acceptance of inner power with greater objectivity and containment. So you've got your energy field is strong out here. You know you have your inner power. You know you're objective and that this is mine, that's theirs. And you are protected. So let's look at not being responsible. Pink yarrow is for hypersensitivity to the healing process, adverse reactions to medication or therapeutic process because feelings seem magnified and intense. Okay, so you're just overly sensitive to things, and so it just makes everything, it blows everything out of proportion. And you can see this as people get older. The nervous system can become weaker and they can be more sensitive to things and not going with changes as they grow older. And so this and little things can be very big to them. And it's hard to be responsible, especially if there was any kind of abuse or trauma as children and they were never able to get through it. If they were able to get help and see a counselor. But a lot of older people in the generations of 80-year-olds and 90-year-olds, a lot of them, that wasn't in their generation to do that. So they're holding this hypersensitivity. And this is something that if you're working with the elderly, that pink yarrow can be very, very helpful for them, along with self-heal. Because self-heal is a core remedy to ignite self-responsibility in the healing process. So these two help with self-responsibility and self-contained consciousness and personal boundaries. So make sure that you guys have my book, because in my book, I've got all kinds of wonderful recipes, flower essences, essential oils, Chinese medicine with essential oils, reflexology, and you've got A to Z elements in here. Plus you've got 170 formulations. So make sure you have that. Ruth will put the link for my book in the comments for you guys. So what is an essential oil? It's a vital energies from inside of roots such as ginger, seeds such as cardamom, plants such as lavender, geranium, and thyme, flowers such as rose, neroli, jasmine, resins such as myrrh and frankincense, trees, pine trees, cedar wood, fruits and peels, oranges, mandarin, and also we have our grasses, lemongrass and citronella. Each essential oil has different chemical constituents and they are lipophilic. That means they love fat. They love carrier oils, and they're such wonderful combinations. These chemical constituents have many different properties: antiviral, anti-infectious, soothing, cooling, calming, stimulating, energizing. They're expectorants and analgesic. Today, we're talking more about how they affect the mind system. So that part of aromatherapy, we're talking about the emotional, mental, and spiritual aspect of how essential oils work. So what are the essential oils for self-acceptance and responsibility? Here we have beautiful orange, and it's one of my favorite essential oils. And it helps you when you're feeling afraid, isolated, lonely, stressed, irritable, and depressed. And a lot of times when we're taking on self-blame, we will isolate ourselves. I'm unhappy with my choices. I'm blaming myself. Then we have our beautiful pine, Pinus sylvestris. Helps when you suffer from guilt, not accepting of oneself, self-punishment, and exhaustion. And then we go to geranium. Helps when you need consoling, when working on your inner child. And self-acceptance and responsibility a lot of times is working with our inner child and what happened during childhood. So that way we're not a victim. We can get through it and go on and live a happy life. Doesn't mean things aren't going to happen to you, because they are. Life has changed, right? But you have the ability to get through it and not blame yourself. Our next three essential oils for self-acceptance and responsibility are juniper. Helps when feeling confused, fearful, and need to purify your mind and protect your energy field, which we've been working on this month in April. Cedarwood helps you when feeling unstable and ungrounded, not present and fully anchored into your energy and body. This is really an important one to be added into this formulation, because I want you to feel stable and grounded. Then we have black pepper. Helps when you feel mentally fatigued, sluggish, lethargic, apathetic, and depressed. Means you have no motivation whatsoever. And the warmness of black pepper when you put it in a formulation is so nice, along with the warmness of the orange. So let's look at the two essential oils that we can use when we're not feeling that the world is trustworthy. Cedar brings stability by anchoring light into the energy of the body. Geranium helps us let go of past shock, traumas, and brings balance to the nervous system. So these two essential oils in our formulation today are going to be helping with balance and stabilization. Our next part is fear of failure. So we have black pepper again that is warming to the formulation and motivates us to change. And geranium consoles our inner child. So we have this consoling and warming energy of these two essential oils to help us have consoling and motivation to ourselves to succeed. Not accepting oneself. Orange warms and calms our heart. Pine brings serenity, energetically to the nervous system and the endocrine system. When we are very fatigued, pine essential oil pulls us up. I saw this a lot. I hadn't used a lot of pine in bath gels until I took over Solaroma, and we had a natural bath gel that had pine in it. And the first time I took a bath in that, I really enjoyed how much it revitalized me. And that's what this is doing in this formulation too. It's energetically bringing this serenity to you and bringing this balance to your adrenal glands. Geranium, able to feel mentally calm and confident, and juniper purifies and protects the energy field for an overall feeling of heart protection with acceptance of oneself. Then we have the two essential oils for overly stimulated and sensitivity. Cedarwood relieves agitation and irritation and tension, and geranium brings balance when anxious, stressed, or tense. So these two essential oils bring balance and ease. And our last two essential oils for our final formulation, not being responsible, are orange. Uplift your mind to release the isolation while warming and opening the heart to be fully present. And juniper, purifying the energetic debris that has been taking your power. So when you've got a lot of things going on out here in this energy field, juniper clears that out. And then the warming sensation of orange opens your heart so you can feel empowerment and presence for accountability. So you're accountable to yourself. So let's see here what Ruth is saying. And so we have some questions that looks like so far that we have people to answer, that I will answer for you. So let's look at our self-acceptance and responsibility flower essence and essential oil blend. We have 4 drops of Oregon grape flower essence, 4 drops of baby blue eyes, 4 drops of pink yarrow, 4 drops of pine flower essence, 4 drops of holly flower essence, 4 drops of self-heal flower essence, and 4 drops of larch. With 8 drops of orange essential oil, 5 drops of pine, 4 drops of black pepper, 1 drop of juniper, and 1 drop of cedarwood. And 30 ml of apricot oil. So you're going to put the flower essences and the essential oils in your bottle. You're going to rub the bottle to get, you put your lid on it right, and you're going to rub the bottle between your hands to get those essential oils and flower essences into the apricot oil. And then you're going to take the bottle and you are going to do this to it, okay? Palpitate it on the bottom. And that will ignite the energies of the flowers into the formulation also. Then you're going to apply it to the temples, the back of your neck, your heart, your solar plexus, and on your hands. So the heart is on the left, so you're going to put it here. You're going to do it on your solar plexus on both hands here, like that. And this is something that you can do 2 or 3 times a day. when you go into the shadow part of yourself and say, hey, I keep doing this and I am just fed up with myself, and you say bad things to yourself. That shadow part of yourself really gets you. And you become that critical parent of yourself and you start in on yourself. Take this, do your breathing that we show you today, and do your open hearts and release it and let it go. So now let's do our last mindful exercise, awareness of blame. So grab your pen and paper. Make sure you have a pen and paper. I've got so many notes here from all of this, but make sure that you have your paper and a pen and your formulation of your juniper and your mountain pennyroyal. Okay. So what you're going to do is get your feet flat on the floor, sit up straight, and you're going to take a short sniff of your juniper and your mountain pennyroyal. And now you're going to place the blend on your third eye here between your eyes, right? And you're going to take 3 deep breaths in through your nose like you're sniffing a rose, and out through your mouth like you're blowing out on a dandelion. And here we go. And now I want you to imagine the color of indigo in the third eye here. Imagine that color. This is going to open you up to all your creativity and ideas and the things that you really want to accomplish in your life, whether it's in a relationship or a business or completing your garden. It's such a wonderful thing to be connecting into your pituitary gland, your third eye, through the color of indigo and juniper and mountain pennyroyal. Feel yourself let go of your tension, stress, friction, or pain in your body. Feel the energy all around you, protected and safe. Feel within yourself that you are protected and safe. Now slowly open your eyes. We're going to do some open hearts. So you begin with your hands together like this. You're going to inhale, and when you exhale, you're going to bring your arms out to the side here. Now the goal is to get your shoulder blades to touch. But if you're in a chair, it's difficult like I am, you're going to hit the chair. So we're going to do this like 5 times. So begin. Okay. Now, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Get your pen and paper and ask yourself these questions. And this can be a yes, sometimes, or no. Okay. Do you trust others or yourself? So write it down. Sometimes, no, or yes. Okay. Am I afraid of failure? Okay. Do I accept myself? Yes, sometimes no. Okay. Am I overly stimulated and sensitive? So let me know here. And 5, do I take self-responsibility? Okay, so A, how many of you trust yourself? How many of you trust yourself or others? Put it in the comments. Yes, sometimes, or no. Put it in the comments. Let us know. And Ruth will let me know. And then B, am I afraid of failure? Put it in the comments. Yes, no, or sometimes. Okay, so Nora says yes, she trusts others and herself. Great. Susan says sometimes. Okay. And Susan says B, yes, I am afraid of failure. And on B, anybody else afraid of failure? And Nora says sometimes. Okay. And C, do I accept myself? And Terry says most of the time unless red flag goes up. Okay. C, do I accept myself? Who's sending it to me now? I see it. Susan said sometimes. Okay. Nora says yes. Excellent. And now let's go to D. Am I overly stimulated and sensitive? Yes, sometimes, or no. That's D. Susan says yes, sensitive. Okay. Nora says sometimes. Terry says, yes, I accept myself even though with my Texas upbringing, I marched to the beat of a different drummer. Great. And now E, do I take self-responsibility? Terry says, not sensitive now. Okay. And E, do I take self-responsibility? Ruth is sending me your messages. Nora says, yes, mostly if I am aware. Okay, Susan says yes. Okay, great. So now I would like you guys to take a short sniff of your juniper and mountain pennyroyal combination. Reapply it here on the third eye. And I want you to envision the color of indigo. And take 3 deep breaths again. And now envision yourself protected and safe with self-acceptance and self-responsibility. Thank you so much for doing this exercise with me. And I really hope it helps you work with the eclipse energies and the supermoon energies as we're still feeling that, and we will be continually too throughout the months, at least for a good 6 months. So go inwardly with that energy like we've done today and utilize it for something that you really want to improve in your life. So through the Lori method that we've been doing today, we've worked with flower essence therapy, olfaction therapy, essential oils. We've had movement. We've made a formulation. We've done breath work, and we've connected our bodies. Today, I hope you leave us with love, trust, empowering self-acceptance, and responsibility. Remember to get signed up for our flower essence retreat. It starts on May 3rd, 4th, and 5th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. We had such a wonderful time last year, and we want to share the beauty of flowers with you again here in California. So we're going to have our winners now. We have our book winners, and we'll have our questions. But first of all, let's have our quiz. And of course, the more times that you answer, the better chance you have of having a place at our flower essence retreat. What is blame? What are the signs of blaming yourself? Which flower essences do you use to accept yourself? What 7 flower essences help for self-acceptance and responsibility? What essential oils help with trust? What essential oils help with the fear of failure? What are the 6 essential oils that help you with self-acceptance and responsibility? And what other healing modalities do we use during our mindful exercise to protect, to purify and protect you? So our first question is, what is blame? So I'm waiting for our answers. What is blame? And this is self-blame. This isn't blaming others. This is blaming yourself. What is self-blame? What is self-blame? Ruth is gathering up the answers for us. Here they come. Cognitive distortions, cognitive bias, or unhelpful thinking styles are the characteristic ways our thoughts become biased. Okay, so here we go. Self-blame is a common form of cognitive distortions. Unhelpful thinking, yes, and Dawn said, this was from Dawn. Unhelpful thinking, characterized by incorrect assignment of blame or responsibility for adverse events. It's often associated with self-criticism by feelings of guilt, shame, regret, and self-directed frustration. Now, make sure you answer these questions so that way you get a chance to win that place to come to our Flower Essence retreat. What are the signs of blaming yourself? And Nora said bias, cognitive thinking. Okay, great. So good job, Dawn. Good job, Nora. Keep it up. Now you guys answer, what are the signs of blaming yourself? And Ruth sending in messages now. It's coming slowly but surely here. Must be the connection. I can see her writing, but it's not coming through. Okay, so let's see. What are the signs of blaming yourself? Dawn, blaming self, not trusting others, feel of failure, not accepting self, overstimulating, sensitive, and not being responsible. Great job, Dawn. Okay, so let's answer this here. Not trusting others and yourself, fear of failure, not accepting oneself, overstimulated, sensitive, and not being responsible. Okay, our next question is, remember, whoever answers these questions and was with us, you guys get that chance to win that place, okay? So which flower essences do you use to accept yourself? Okay, so Nora answered not trusting, fears, not accepting self, overly stimulated, sensitive, and not being responsible. So it just came in two for the second question. So the third question here is, which flower essences do you use to accept yourself? Look at your notes. Okay, Nora said juniper, cedarwood, and black pepper. So not essential oils, that's correct. However, though, flower essences, I know we're doing two things, so it can be confusing, but flower essences. So which flower essences do you use to accept yourself? So go to flower essences if you took those notes. Self-heal and pink yarrow, okay. For self-responsibility, this is self-acceptance. And I think there's maybe more than two. So think about this again. Self-acceptance. This is about accepting yourself. Ooh, I like this. I'm not going to give the answers until I see some other answers here. It's correct what Dawn said for flower essences for self-responsibility, self-heal and pink yarrow. Self-acceptance is different. It's a tree that has little needles on it. One of them is. I'm giving you some little hints here. It's green. Okay, here we go. Dawn says pine. Yes, that's one of them. All right, Dawn. Keep it up. And another one is it's got little tiny greenish red flowers on it. Keep it up, Dawn. And Nora says large pine, pink yarrow, and holly. Woohoo! You got it, Nora. And baby blue eyes. Okay, so you got almost all of them. So it's large pine, holly, and baby blue eyes. Keep up the good work, you guys. Here we go. And what 7 flower essences help for self-acceptance and responsibility? So this is all the flower essences that we talked about. Okay, these are flower essences. Then we'll go to essential oils. So we've already named some of them, but we need 3 more. I love this. And you guys will never forget the answers to this. Ruth is starting to type here. So what are the 7 flower essences that we talked about today for self-acceptance and responsibility? And remember, the more times you answer, the more chance you have of getting a place at our flower essence retreat. To come to California and be here with us. Very, very exciting, fun, and you're going to have such a wonderful experience with us. Okay, look in your notes, girls. Here Ruth goes. It's starting to come through now. She's typing, but I don't know. No, I didn't talk about crabapple or rock water. Talked about pine. I didn't talk about crabapple or rock water. Funny. Dawn says Oregon grape. Yes, that's another one. Remember, it's all 7. So I talked about large, pine, holly, baby blue eyes, now Oregon grape. Nora's got it. Oregon grape, pine, pink yarrow, holly, larch, self-heal, and baby blue eyes. Right on. Here we go. Woohoo! Next question. What essential oils? Now we're talking essential oils help with trust. What essential oils help with trust? And Susan said, Oregon grape, baby blue ice, pink yarrow, pine, holly, self-heal, and larch. Go, Susan. All right. So they're coming through now. And what essential oils? So now we're on the essential oil part. What essential oils help with trust? And we just got just a few more questions after this. We only did 8 questions this time. I feel like I'm giving you less questions. Maybe I give you more questions. It builds up momentum for you guys. All right, so what essential oils help with trust? What essential oils help with trust? Geranium and cedar wood, says Nora. Okay. See what else you guys say. Let's see what else you guys say. Ruth's typing. She's going from different Facebook groups, YouTube. All right, let's see here. Okay, let's see our answer. Our answer is geranium and cedar wood. If you are typing still, go ahead and send it. Our next question is, which essential oils help you with the fear of failure? Which essential oils help you with the fear of failure? Check your notes. What's something that can uplift you, motivate you? It's warm. Just think when we're fearful, we're more cold, aren't we? So what is it that can warm us? And Susan says geranium and black pepper. Okay, Susan. And Dawn says geranium and black pepper. And Nora says geranium and black pepper. You guys are rocking it. All right. Now, what are the 6 essential oils that help you with self-acceptance and responsibility? So that's all the essential oils that we talked about today that are in our formulation for self-acceptance and responsibility. What are those 6 essential oils? Remember, the more you answer, the more chance you have to win that place at our Flower Essence retreat, which I'm so excited about. My neighbor is so excited because he's getting his beautiful garden ready for everybody. Can't wait to have you with us. Eat beautiful organic foods with us. Share our wonderful case studies from our previous graduates of our Flower Essence practitioner course. Susan says geranium, black pepper, orange, pine, juniper, and cedar wood. Okay, Let's see what everybody else comes up with. Dawn says orange, pine, geranium, juniper, cedarwood, black pepper. And Nora says orange, pine, geranium, black pepper, and juniper and cedarwood. You guys are rocking it. Geranium, juniper, pine, cedarwood, black pepper, and orange. And our final question is, what other healing modalities did we use during our mindful exercise to purify and protect you today? No essential oils, no flower essences. What were the other healing modalities that we used today that are part of the Lori method? This is our final question to our quiz. Dawn says breath work and movement. Yes. Good job, Dawn. What does everyone else have to say now? Come on, you guys. You get a chance to win. Ruth's gonna, if you were there yesterday and today, you get more of a chance. Nora said breath, color image, and open heart exercise. Okay, great. Anybody else want to answer this question? Before I give the final answers to our final quiz of our master. And Dawn says, third eye connect to chakras, pituitary, and body connection. Go for it, Dawn. You guys are even hitting more things than I hit, I think, than I put in my answers. You're rocking it. Okay, any other answers before I do this? Because then Ruth is gonna draw it. She's gonna put everyone's name. She's got a little thing there and she's gonna draw their names out. So here we go. Breathing, yoga, and connecting the bodies. Perfect. And you guys, and Nora mentioned color imaging too. And of course, the yoga was the heart exercise. And Dawn saying the third eye connect to the chakras, pituitary, and body connection, connecting the bodies. Good job, you guys. All right. So let's go now. Remember our flower essence retreat. We're going to offer one place. We're going to announce our winner. And while we're announcing while Ruth is getting that ready there, drawing the person, I'm going to go back to the questions that I have here. Ruth put some question marks here for me. Let me see where they're at. Up here for the questions people have asked. Ruth, you stuck them up here, and I'm going through our chat. I'm not seeing them. Darn, I know they're there. Just missing them. Oh, here. Dawn says, I've met people who say that cedarwood smells terrible to them. Would you address this? Well, if someone feels like, if something doesn't smell good to someone, I don't use it with them because they're not attracted to it. So just don't use it. If you want to replace cedarwood in the formulation, you could always look at other grounding essential oils such as vetiver or patchouli, and maybe they would like those better. So those are two other options for you if they don't like cedarwood. Then Nora says, I have Lori's book from years ago. Is this a new version? Yes, this is a new version. My first book I wrote in 1999, and this book is 2015. So, and we also, this is the new book. So you guys have been participating, so you guys will win a book. So we'll be sending you a book. And we'll announce our winners of the book, and we'll put it up on our Facebook pages. And we also will announce who is winning the place. So Ruth, any other questions anybody else has? Oh, here's one. How can I help a child who says, I suck at this? I always suck at this. Well, for me, I would use the formulation that I have suggested. And if they only want to take like a flower essence, the one that I would use would be larch. Larch is really good to help build self-confidence. Probably two. I would use pine and larch together if you can only get them to take a couple flower essences, or they can take all the flower essences and the blend and the essential oil blend together. You can do that. Here's another one. What red flags could point to someone with self-hatred? Well, for one thing is going to their room, not being with other people. Isolation is one of the things. They're not happy about some choice or some situation that's going on with them. And how they're speaking about themselves, well, it's just always my fault. They say things like that. And it could be that they've had a parent, they were physically violated. And when they were beat, their parents told them they were no good and that, you're worthless. And so they start acting like this. And I know I've had some conversations with people saying, you'll say something to them and they're like, well, yeah, I know. It's just always my fault, isn't it? And it's like they want you to come back and tell them it's not their fault and it has nothing to do with you and the conversation you're having. It's a conversation they're having from the past, from a past trauma. A lot of times it's physical abuse or mental abuse. What would you recommend to help let go of blame felt for how your children behave, young or adult children? Well, I definitely would use pine, and I definitely would take self-heal to look at how am I responsible for their behavior and how am I having boundaries. And I would look, these are the three I would use. I would use pine. I would use pink yarrow for boundaries. Because if you are not disciplining your children when they need to be disciplined and not having good boundaries with your children, not telling them yes or no, then you have to look at that. And that means you're responsible for it and you have to have good boundaries with children. Children need boundaries. They need to tell, no, you can't do that right now. We're going to go do this. Get your shoes on. Okay, I'm going to wait for you to get your shoes on. And you give them time. You give them time, the proper time to get their shoes on. And you get the shoes on, and now we're going to go. And some children need you to tell them the things ahead of time, and you need to give certain children more time to do things. So you have to look at your child and their behavior and the way they are and how it works between you. If it's a child who can't be rushed, then you're going to have to, there's things that happen, emergencies happen, and so they'll have to adjust. But if it's not an emergency, and you know ahead of time, you can always tell the child so that way they can adjust to it. So I would then reflect on myself, not taking it as a judgment on myself, but looking at how am I handling my children? Am I giving my children enough attention to? Am I always on my phone scrolling And that's the reason why they're running around screaming and they're throwing tantrums all the time. You have to look at that. Can you suggest a technique to help kids who blame themselves for parental issues such as divorce, absent parents? I would look at, a lot of children do this, and I would look at in a formulation of flower essences with Mariposa Lily and Self Heal and Pine and Larch, and also some Buttercup. The reason Mariposa Lily is because Mariposa Lily helps you with any kind of abandonment issues that you could be having from the divorce or a parent leaving. And Mariposa Lily really brings in that archetype of mothering. Self-heal helps you take responsibility for your wellness and well-being, whether you're a small child or not. It helps. Larch is for self-confidence, and Pine helps you release any kind of any guilt around the situation of your parents being divorced or a parent leaving you. And the winner, drum roll, Ruth, for the retreat is Nora. Congratulations, Nora. You have a free place at our Flower Essence retreat. And thank you, everyone who participated these last 2 days. And we are so happy to have all of you with us. We feel that this is such a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to share with you guys about flower essences and how to use them and how to use essential oils together for two very deep and profound emotions of shame and blame. We could go on forever about these two issues. And so we want to thank all of you guys for being with us. We hope it's helped you in so many ways and that you can help others by looking through the slides. We're going to be putting up the slides up on our site, and by watching this over again to take notes. So if you guys missed it, please make sure that you watch it. We will have it up through the weekend, and then it will be taken down. So you guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you, everyone, for participating. We appreciate all of you for being here with us and taking the time out of your day to be with us. And make sure that you download the slides and that you watch the recordings as much as you need to till Sunday night. And thank you so much, Dawn. Thank you so much, Nora. Thank you much, so Susan, Diane, Valerie, everyone who came on today. We want to thank all of you. And make sure that you don't forget your essentials. Use your common sense. Au revoir.